It's Monday. Is it Monday? Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's Monday. So sick of this racist crap. This racist crap. This racist crap. I'm happy where I am, where everybody's miserable. I know how to do radio, 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 radio. So sick of this racist crap. This racist crap. This racist crap. So sick of this racist crap. This racist crap. This racist crap.
Okay. I guess I'll draw Caveman John for this edition of the Nailsin live stream. Not at my best at the moment, so I'll do what I can. Well, it would help if the camera, yeah. There it is. See, it's my hands. Well, they look much bigger. All right. You know, back when John was growing his hair out and he had the beard and everything, that would make more, of a caveman look. Well, the stereotypical caveman look. But eventually he decided, oh, I need a haircut and shave. And that was that. So anyway, he's a Caveman John, who likes to throw rocks, likes to eat mammoth, and doesn't know a whole lot otherwise. Oh, and likes to make fire, which he figured out how to do. They hadn't figured out how to make fire. Would not have survived. And then where would we be, Well, nowhere, of course. Not going to do the pig story. I mean, good Lord. What a way to go out. Well, I can't, it's just, we don't know what happened exactly. I guess they were in her yard and she was getting ready to go to her niece's house for Christmas. And probably saw them there in the yard and said, yeah, you pigs, get out of here, or something like that. And might have tried to chase them off or something. And then the pigs, and then she probably tripped and fell. And then the pigs decided, hey, let's go to town. Let's take care of business or something. I don't know. And Well, I think that's pretty much explains most of it, something of that nature. But the stupidity of the article, of the authorities saying, hey, look, if this had been a dog, we would know exactly what to do. But here, oh, it's farm animals. Well, there would still be some liability if the farmer had lost control of his tractor and ran over the lady, wouldn't it? You know. So here's his livestock. He got out and decided to eat this lady. I mean, they didn't eat the whole woman apparently. So I guess, as Pat suggested, she wasn't all that tasty or something of that nature. But they ate enough where he died. And it's always one of those things about those articles about someone dying on Christmas. Say, wow, that makes it so much worse. Somehow it would have been better if you know, it happened earlier or somewhat later. But I guess it's just the idea. Well, every Christmas will now mark the anniversary of when this ridiculous death happened with pigs. Well, there he is. Pretty much. That's a caveman. It's Caveman John. Me am Caveman John. Me throw rock. Me eat mammoth. They ate a lot of mammoth because a mammoth went a long way. If you could get one of those, you weren't going to have to worry about starving for a long while. Of course, not just one guy could go and toss a spear at a mammoth. Usually the mammoth would run him over. It's kind of like in the footage of circuses where the elephant just had enough, and one day he just turns on the guy, and the guy's like trying to get it under control. He says, don't worry, I got this. And he starts, trying to whip the elephant into submission. And then the elephant suddenly realizes, what if I just smashed my whole head right into this little bastard? And that's what he did. And then he stomped the guy. And the elephant won that one. Then he went on a rampage, and the police showed up and they just had to shoot and shoot and shoot and shoot. And finally the elephant fell over. But, that was an elephant who had enough of that crap. Eventually, of course, the circuses can't have animals anymore. It didn't happen all the time. More times than not, it didn't. But eventually, every now and then, because even some of the lions would get tired of the whip in their face and stuff, and would just leap over there and maul the idiot that was trying to get him to jump through a hoop or something. I don't know. After that, uh, circuses were like, oh, now what do we do? So I guess it's all just clowns and the trapeze artist. Every now and then something goes wrong there too, and they fall off and splat on the ground in front of everybody. Think, well, it's kind of what you came to see, isn't it? Will they survive? And every time you usually do. Same thing with like stunt shows and stuff. Will it go wrong? Like the air shows and the guys jumping out of the plane. oh wow, the chute didn't open and that kind of stuff. Now, like with Evil Knievel, that was almost always a disaster. You know, he would show up and he'd go flying like a rag doll, being smeared all over the track with the motorcycle and everything. And then he'd do it again later, you know. Uh, so, uh, so you kind of, you know, you pretty much got the show that you came for. So, you know, some wrecks were worse than others. A couple of them, man, it's like, it's amazing he survived that. And well, he did, and then lived to a ripe old age, passed away that way. You know, the kind of the usual way, I guess. But he'd go flying and being dragged around the track and all that. Either way, he put on a show. So yeah, once they lost the animals, I guess I guess like the Cirque du Soleil thing is the main. I don't even do they even do circuses anymore. I guess it'd be more like that, where they're sort of make it look like they're floating around. They did do this Beatles album, which is they took the Beatles songs and did it as a soundtrack for a Cirque du Soleil performance based on their songs or whatever. I don't know. I never saw the show, but the album's pretty cool because they took the original master tapes of the songs and kind of redid them here and there, and they got George Martin and his son to work on that. So technically, it's an official addition to the Beatles catalog in a way. Because in a lot of ways, George Martin was the fifth Beatle. You know, there was Stu Sutcliffe at the beginning, you know, and poor Pete Best, you know, and then any other guys who came and went and kind of helped out and whatnot. But without George Martin, it wouldn't have had the sound that it did. So it was, you know, his presence goes a long way. So, so they worked on that, and I mean, the most part, it's stuff you've heard before. But it's just a little different here, a little stuff they added to it and blended them together. Um, I think they made use of alternate tracks of the songs as well, and you can get a lot of those on the anthology albums they did, where there's different versions of like Strawberry Fields Forever and stuff like that. And so like one thing they did was that Sergeant Pepper song that George Harrison did, "Within You, Without You," but they put the percussion track of "Tomorrow Never Knows" onto it. Gotta say, it works a lot better. So it's pretty cool. And another George Harrison song was "While My Guitar Gently Weeps," and the one on the Cirque du Soleil, the Love album they call it. It's much better. It had this orchestral treatment to it, and I guess it was a version of the song that George did, where it's just him and an acoustic guitar. But then George Martin added the orchestral strings and everything to it, and it's quite beautiful. It's a really good take on that song. Um, so it made it all worthwhile rather than just another money grab, which it is on the name of the Beatles. But I enjoyed it. I did. Because usually it's like there's all I don't know if they. I guess they still do it. I don't know, but the remixes of songs and stuff. And every now and then you'd get one that's kind of cool. For the most part, they're terrible. Um, and so, but like that's a good example of a new version of the song, a bit more than just a remix, but uh, where it's actually, in my humble opinion, superior to the original. Um, so that usually doesn't happen. Most of the remixes, it's just, I don't know, they just sort of stretch out a few lines of the song and then stretch it out with some electronica beat or some crap like that. Who cares? Well, I guess somebody did. I suppose that was a DJ thing, and they would just play versions like that at the club where no one's really listening. So I guess it doesn't really matter. Funny how when you hear all that stuff on YouTube or whatever, then you have to actually pay attention to it. And then it's like, it's not that good. One thing I did discover on YouTube was the mashups, where people would screw around with songs and put two different songs together and make them fit. Quite a few of those are terrible, but quite a few are not bad. They're pretty good. There was one I probably went on and talked about this before. Now that I think about it, but I'm going to do it again. And there was one with Britney Spears and Metallica. So she had that song "Toxic." They took that and merged it with Enter Sandman, and I gotta say, it's pretty good. Pretty good. And the other one that was really good, was rather surprising, was, I guess it shouldn't have been. I don't know. Uh, was Led Zeppelin, "A Whole Lot of Love," and the Beatles, "Helter Skelter." And so it's like the vocal tracks of Helter Skelter to the music of "Whole Lot of Love," and sounds really good. So, it's a cool little thing to people to fart around with. And sometimes you just never know what you're going to get out of that. Speaking of Enter Sandman, boy, that has a whole new meaning with that Neil Gaiman scandal. Jeez Louise. Of course, he denies the allegations of assault. But everything else, yeah, pretty spot on. I mean, he paid him to keep quiet. Plus, he's in the midst of a bitter divorce, so the likelihood that you can't look at that as a coincidence as to suddenly all these allegations come to the surface. But still, what a weirdo. But says, hey, it was consensual. So I don't know that there's any criminal jeopardy for Mr. Gaiman, but it is interesting how some people get protected, other people don't. No Me Too for Neil, except just now, I guess. Uh, he and his wife supposedly had an open marriage. Well, I guess she got tired of that. I don't know. All right, that's Caveman John. He eats mammoth. I don't think he could eat the whole mammoth. And if you killed a mammoth and somehow by yourself, which I doubt, uh, most of it would just rot before you could finish that off. Of course, the caveman probably did eat a lot of rotting stuff, you know, but eventually they had to learn the hard way. Rotten meat, not good. Rotten meat makes sick. Something like that, you know. One day, the meat fell into the fire, and then they ate that, and like, burnt meat tastes good. And the rest is history. So there you go. All right. Oh, nobody's here, so I don't guess I have any chat. Oh, I do. It's Saint Ranger. All right. Oh, jeez, can't get this thing to work that way. Saint Ranger says, "Hi, nice to hear you. Thank you for sharing your time." Yeah, well, it's like last week. I hardly did any, so I got to make up for that. You know. Pam, I am. Hi, Pam says, "Yes, we enjoy listening and watching. Thanks." Well, I appreciate that. Saint Ranger, I was taken to the 100th anniversary show year of Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus. I didn't get to go to the 100th anniversary, but I did get to see one of their shows. Yeah. They did have elephants. I'm lucky to be alive, aren't I? Saint Ranger, yep. Saint Ranger, hey, Saint Ranger, we are listening to Saint Ranger. Yeah, well, while I'm drawing, I can't really see it. So, I mean, it's right here on the side, but I just... So, Saint Ranger, I'm really enjoying this. Pam, I am. My ears hear Doug very well. Well, that's good to know. Saint Ranger says, hi. Hi, Saint Ranger. Saint Ranger says, I'm honored to talk with you. Well, that's nice. That's it. We just talked. So there's the Caveman John. I did put in, what did I do? I put in a break video of Nailsin News. I think it's an old one. And I probably ran it before. I just don't recall. But I'll play that and then come back and put some color to Caveman John. This is a Nailsin News Bulletin. Tennessee cops, including married female officer, fired after repeated wild sex romps. Hello, I'm Mr. Nailsin. A small Tennessee police station has been rocked by allegations of wild sexual misconduct after a married female officer allegedly had steamy romps with 6 male officers, including illicit on-duty liaisons. Officer Megan Hall and her fellow law officers allegedly engaged in wild sexcapades that included sending dirty pictures, taking her top off at a Girls Gone Wild hot tub party, and even having oral sex with 2 officers at the Laverne, Tennessee police station. The steamy shenanigans, in which Hall allegedly bragged about the size of one partner's genitals and claimed to be in an open marriage, not only led Hall to be canned in more ways than one, but led to the firings of Sergeant Lewis Powell, Officer Juan Lulo, Sergeant Ty McGowan, and Detective Seneca Shields. 2 other officers who allegedly had romps with Hall, Patrick Magliocco and Larry Holiday, kept their jobs but wound up suspended. Well, I guess they only
got one go around or whatever. Anyway, the extracurricular trysts took place at hotels and parties at each other's houses and on a boat, while Hall was also accused of performing oral sex on Powell and Shields while on duty at the police station and police gym. Officials began to look into the swinging personal lives of the amorous officers when Laverne Mayor Jason Cole received a tip that Hall was sleeping with several fellow officers and had a threesome with Magliocco and his wife. When asked about the tip, Magliocco admitted to having sex with Hall on numerous occasions. He told investigators that Hall had told him about Powell's big black dick and claimed she had performed a sex act on him while the pair were on the clock. Magliocco also said he had seen Hall and Holiday kiss while watching football at a party, and said Hall had kissed his own wife, Amy, after learning they had an open marriage. The officer said Hall's husband saw the kiss and told officials the cuckold really wasn't on board with his wife having a threesome with the Maglioccos, but she continued having a relationship with him. When questioned, Powell later denied that he had had a sexual encounter with Hall, but said everybody knows she has multiple partners, as he named Holiday and McGowan to investigators. After being caught lying about being at the gym with Hall, Powell admitted to the tryst during a follow-up interview. Powell was then involved in a domestic disturbance with his wife. Gee, I wonder why that happened. Who he told investigators beat the shit out of me, adding that he would most likely lose his children after the spurned woman learned of the affair. Yeah, well, you gotta expect these things. Holiday admitted under questioning to having sex with Hall multiple times, and McGowan revealed that he once went to Hall's house with another female and exposed his genitals. After initially denying having sexual relationships with Powell and Magliocco, Hall later copped to the affairs and also admitted having sex with Lugo at a motel after they met at a go-kart center. A charge that Lugo initially denied before caving under a second interrogation. Under questioning, Shields said, "I have never had sex with Megan Hall," until admitting she had performed oral sex on him while on duty when pressed. I guess he's going for the Bill Clinton route. Anyway, Magliocco also noted he had become concerned about Hall's mental health and heavy drinking and driving. The officer said Hall had once pulled the trigger on an empty gun pointed at her temple so she could hear what it sounded like, and said she was suffering from mental illness. Yeah, I can see where you might reach that conclusion. An oft-mentioned event was a Memorial Day party in a boathouse owned by another member of the department, to which several officers had brought their children. At one point during the party, an intoxicated Hall was reportedly being force-fed vodka by Magliocco in the hot tub, at which time her top came off, and other officers stopped the former officer from drinking and helped her cover up to protect her. Lugo, Powell, and Shields were also dismissed for violating police procedure and lying during the investigation, along with McGowan, who had been witnessed choking an HR employee. Holiday, Magliocco, and Patrol Officer Gavin Chauvery were suspended in connection with the probe. That means the investigation. HR Director Andrew Patton, who authored the report and conducted the investigation, sanctioned the 8 officers with various penalties for sexual activity while on duty, sexual harassment, conduct unbecoming of an officer, and lying during the course of the investigation. It was further revealed that Hall and many of the male officers had shared lewd text messages and pornographic images of themselves. Pornography and offensive pictures in the workplace are forms of sexual harassment. These items are offensive, inappropriate, and can lead to a hostile work environment for other employees, said the report. Well, a typical motto for a policeman is to protect and serve. But for Officer Megan, seems she was more inclined to the serve part. Oh no, what's going to become of her? Well, she's not a police officer anymore. No, I don't know. She did OnlyFans or anything like that. So that's that. But that's 2 years ago now. Yeah. Yeah, I got to make more Nailsin news, Anyway, there he is, Caveman John, within the confines of Voodoo Shop. Pam I Am says, we're laughing with you. St. Ranger says, some faces are funny. Yeah, she did kind of have a funny face. Pam I Am has some rabbit emojis. She confirms they are rabbits. St. Ranger says, I am still thinking of your three Yahtzee in one game and how many of in the previous 6 games. Lucky you. Maybe that's them talking to each other. I don't know. But all right. So here we go. Caveman John on his way to kill a mammoth. I guess I will pick this color and we'll put that as the color of the club. I doubt the club was that smooth, but this is cartoon, you understand? It's a representation of the actual thing. I say that to get away with lazy mistakes. And I can do that because I do hold an artistic license. After all, I'm a professional. Everything's going to be okay. I'm here. All right. We'll take that and that and blah, 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 blah. Don't know what animal lost their life and their hide, but we're grateful. You know why? Because it keeps Caveman John clothed. We don't want to see naked Caveman John. That's just something you don't want to see. Of course, Mrs. Caveman John does have to see it. Yeah. Maybe not a whole lot because, there's not a lot of light in the cave. And that's for the best. You don't really get as much of the view like they do in the porn movies. And that's the thing about porn. Leave that to the professionals. So it's good that the cave is dark. I mean, you know what's going on, but you don't have to take it all in. Let's see if this will. Yeah, that's good enough. So, we have flesh. We have hair on arms. That's right, John. You do. Me get wife with club. Yeah, that's how they did it in the olden days. The club's not going to do much in the mammoth hunt. That's going to require teams of the tribe. I'm not a professional in mammoth hunting, of course, but I won't know the exact number required, but I imagine a significant number of men with spears to surround a mammoth and gore it with their spears. Of course, the mammoth more than likely is going to take a few out. He might get to smash one that got a little too close, a little too stupid, making jokes and stuff. You know how it goes. And then, oh no, Oogla's gone. Mammoth killed Oogla. And that was the day we lost Oogla. And then they go home and paint it on the wall and stuff. Those were the, the soap operas and movies of their day, was those cave paintings. So they would talk about all these great adventurous stories of hunting mammoth, which you really kind of had to be there to fully appreciate it, but they'd sit around and talk about it, probably greatly exaggerated about how it went down, but nevertheless it did. I mean, it could have been a couple of times, they were out looking for a mammoth, and then they came upon a really sick one who's already dying, or maybe already dead, and they said, oh, well, let's hack this up and bring it home. And then they got this whole story. And they're like, oh, wow, that's so awesome. Me get laid tonight in cave, and all that kind of stuff. So, that's kind of where that starts. But sometimes, they actually had to do it because, you're starving, you're desperate. And if you wait too long looking for roadkill, or, well, just, natural causes of kill, you're going to get too weak from the hunger. And, I guess you could snack on rodents and varmints or whatever is running around, but it's just not enough, Man, if you could just get that mammoth. And you want to do it before the winter hits, because then you got all this meat. Now, again, back in them there days, they didn't have an ice box or anything. So it's like the first few meals they have are going to be sort of okay, but then after a while, it's just going to be all this rotten meat. But, well, that's what you had. Didn't last too long. But, yeah, I don't know. I mean, after that, they were going to have to go and search, again, rodents and other varmints in them lean years. But the activity in and of itself was pretty good exercise, and whatever meal they got did sustain them, so they could have some muscle growth, strength, and experience. Oh, yes. That's of some vital importance. It most certainly is, as they endeavor to seek sustenance from what nature provides. Yes. Yes. And, well, sometimes it worked out. But I'm sure a lot of times they just starved to death, I mean, it's like, well, what are you going to do? Nothing to eat. I mean, I'm sure they probably ate each other a time or two. Man, that had to be weird. I can't believe I'm eating Ed. Yeah, well, Ed's dead, so eat him. And I'm like, all right. It happens. But even in those days, they must have felt bad about it, I don't want to be eaten, Well, he's dead anyway, so yeah, but still, it's just the idea and all that. And that's when eventually they had myths and legends about how terrible that was. It's like you go back to the Greek myths, before Zeus and his pals took over Olympus. Pals, I mean, they were his siblings. Their dad had, oh crap, I screwed that up. Yeah. Their father had consumed them all. This is because, damn it, what's screwing up like this in front of everybody? Well, he had gotten this, well, whatever, we'll just make it like it's a stain or something on there.
he'd gotten this prophecy that one of his children would grow up to dethrone him. And well, he didn't care for that. So he decided, you know what? I'm just going to eat them all. So when his wife gave birth to them, he said, "Hey, let me see that kid." And so she'd hand the kid over to him, and he'd eat it. Of course, he was a Titan, so his kids were gods and all this sort of thing. So it wasn't exactly like it would be for human beings. So I don't know. He just sort of absorbed them into himself or something. Who the hell knows? But anyway, when she gave birth to Zeus, she'd had enough of all her babies being eaten, and so she was like, I can't go through this again. So she gave him a rock wrapped in the blankets for the baby, and he just took that, I don't know, blanket and all, I guess, and swallowed it. Yeah, he was a bit of an idiot. His name was Kronos, and the Roman version is Saturn. Yeah, we named a planet after a guy who ate his kids. Yeah, that's something. And so he thought he had eaten his latest kid, but he hadn't. He'd only eaten a stone because his wife had stabbed him in the back. Isn't that how it goes? And so, he thought, cool, there, I'm still safe from this prophecy that's, the kid's going to overthrow me and all that sort of crap. And so the wife had to have someone spirit Zeus away. So Zeus was sent to the world of man. And there he grew up, with, I guess, an adopted family or whatever. And then eventually realized he needed to return. I don't know what they called it. It wasn't quite Mount Olympus yet. I guess it became Mount Olympus, but whatever. He wanted to go back and get his birthright, And, I guess they told him the whole story. It's like, yeah, well, the reason you're here is because your dad wanted to eat you and your mom wouldn't let him. So she snuck you down here with us. And he's like, oh, man, that sucks. Plus, you got all these brothers and sisters, and he ate those. So they're in his tummy. Like, oh, man. So, well, he believed them. And so he eventually got up there, but he realized he wasn't going to be able to do it alone. So I think he did get some allies in this, I think is how it went, to help him out, who were enemies of the Titans and that kind of thing. But eventually he gets there and manages to get his father to drink this poison. It doesn't kill him, but it made him really sick. And so he threw up. And then all of Zeus's siblings came out of him, fully grown. So they'd just been sitting there inside their dad like, man, this sucks. Oh, man, really, I wish we were out in the world, being adults and stuff. And well, now they can be. And Zeus is like, hey, guys, it's your little bro Zeus. And I saved you and stuff. So let's kick dad's ass or whatever. So they do. There's a war between the gods as they became known and the Titans. Whoopsie, that's not going to work. I forgot I did that. Yeah. And so, no, all right. Ultimately, the gods, the kids, they won, and the Titans, except for the ones that helped them, like Zeus's mom and stuff like that. A couple of the Titans were spared, But for the most part, the rest of them were sent down to Tartarus, which is sort of like what we think of as hell today, because hell to them was just the realm of the dead. But there were certain areas of it you really didn't want to go to, and Tartarus was one of them. And that's where the Titans ended up. They were stuck there ever since. A couple of them, I think Prometheus was actually a Titan, and I guess they were okay with him at first, but then he created man and then gave man fire and all this stuff, so he ended up getting punished. But Atlas is the one that had to hold up the whole universe, so he didn't go to Tartarus. So I guess, I don't know, his crimes just weren't as serious as the others, and they said, all right, you don't have to go there, but you gotta hold up the universe on your shoulders for all eternity. Well, gee, thanks. I don't know what was holding up the universe before that. Maybe whatever it was, they damaged it in their war with each other, and they're like, oh, that's a problem. And hey, don't worry, we got this Titan. We can just shove him into there. And that's what they did. Yeah. Later on, Hercules would have to, he needed the help of Atlas, because he was looking for, was it the golden apple or something? And he didn't really know where it was, but Atlas did. So Atlas said, hey, well, I'll go get it, but you got to hold up the universe while I go do that. So he went and got it, but then when he came back, he's like, I'm not picking up the universe. You're going to have to hold it, Hercules. Sucks to be you, doesn't it? And it's like, stupid Hercules didn't see that coming, huh? Well, he's not all that stupid, because, and I can't remember exactly how he did it, but he managed to outfox Atlas to get him to hold. I think he said, damn, what was it? He said something to him. He said, I tell you, but I got to put this thing down, So then Atlas stupidly agreed to hold it for him. And then he said, ha, now you're stuck. And he's like, what? No. And that's when he found out he was on candid camera, and it went viral and all that. Anyway, back to the Titans. So Zeus and the crew, they won. The Titans, for the most part, were done. So they founded Mount Olympus and decided, hey, we're going to be the gods of the universe and all that stuff. Cool deal. But then they decided to divvy up the territory. So Zeus, since he was pretty much the leader and he had saved everybody, the rest of them were just going to stay inside Dad's stomach all that time. And he's the one who got him out. But I think no, that's right. They drew lots, and Zeus got to be, the king of heaven and large and in charge and all that. So basically he ruled Mount Olympus. Poseidon, his other brother, he got to be, the king of the sea, god of the oceans, and all that sort of stuff. So that's what he got. The only thing left, I guess they didn't decide for anyone to be like dominant over the earth, but I guess as king of heaven, Zeus got to do that. But so finally there was, we got the realm of the dead. And Hades, who was actually the oldest of the brothers, he drew that straw. And so they said, well, kind of sucks to be you, Hades, huh? And the truth is, none of them ever really liked him. He didn't really have great social skills, and he was kind of weird. And they just, you go down there and do that. And he was like, damn it. So they really didn't get along. He was, and I mean, you got to understand, it's pretty much a raw deal there that he gets. Technically speaking, as successions go with kings and their sons, it's usually the oldest gets dibs on the throne. Not this time, but of course the circumstances, you understand. And he had a chance, but he drew the wrong straw. But he probably always suspected that Zeus was pulling shenanigans and cheated. And
Yeah, maybe he did. I don't know. Anyway, it really helped that Zeus had these lightning powers and stuff. Later on, his deformed son, Hephaestus, or Vulcan for the Roman version, would build him because he was a pretty good blacksmith. He was lame and ugly looking and everything, but he was really good at crafting stuff, so they kept him around, And he would build the lightning bolts for Zeus to throw, and he threw them a lot. And people were like, oh, lightning, oh, Zeus mad, and that kind of thing. So that's how they set that up. So yeah, Hades never got over that one, and you can kind of understand why. But anyway, it's one of the earliest iterations of that theme of the father fearing the son and all this sort of thing. And they would repeat it through other stories as they went. And ultimately, it's like Kronos basically makes the prophecy happen. He knows it's coming. He's trying to prevent it from happening. But that's not part of the deal. And in trying to prevent it, he actually makes it happen. Yeah. I mean, if he hadn't eaten his kids and just let them be and just said, well, they're my kids, and if they're going to take over one day, that's just the way it is. And maybe I can convince them otherwise. Who knows? But he didn't go that route. He kind of gave them more than enough reason to want to do it. It's not like he ever decided, hey, maybe I can give my kids a chance to, love me and stuff. No, he didn't even think of that. So there you go. And that is also another nature of tragedy. No matter what you do, you're doomed. That's tragedy. Tragedy gets thrown around a lot, and it irritates me because people do not know what it truly means. Because it's been covering the news stories and the murders in New York and stuff. And there's this tragedy, and it's like, it's not a tragedy. That asshole went out of his way to commit those murders. I mean, a car accident that's actually an accident, that's tragic. He didn't mean to do it. Shit happened. He was watching porn while driving, He didn't want to run those people over, but he had porn to watch. It's going to happen. Anyway, there you go. Caveman John. I don't know if Pat will want that to use as a sort of avatar for Caveman John when he calls in, so you can have something to visualize the wonder that is Caveman John. Oh, let's see here. The rabbits. Yeah, I'm still looking. Pam, I am. More impressive is your 5 straights in a row in the first row. Okay. Saint Ranger. Man, my glasses are just failing me today, so you'll have to give me a moment as I clean them up a bit. Yeah. Well, I can kind of see no. 5 of a kind dice Pam got. Pam says, yes, we were playing Yahtzee. Well, all right then. Pam and Saint Ranger play Yahtzee. Saint Ranger, I enjoy seeing him draw more so when it is a live show. Yeah, when I do the video ones, and sometimes I'll take some of these and do it like that as well. I do it at super speed. Turns out that's just the machinations of the video program. I can't really draw that fast. I know it shatters one of the great illusions about me. I do not actually have super speed. Pam, I am. Doug, you play any dice games? Nope. I don't play dice games. Saint Ranger, I want to start using the drawing program on the 3Ds, Art Academy 3D or something. All right, give it a shot. Saint Ranger, I liked Robert Graves' 2-volume Greek mythology and his single volume on the Roman mythology, which I read second. I liked the map that folded out of the Penguin edition by Graves. Okay, I don't have that, but I have, what's it called? Bullfinch's mythology, you know? There's no pictures in it, but it does have a fairly complete record of the different myths, you know, all through the Trojan War and all that. Saint Ranger, I like hearing about mythology. Great stuff. Yeah, there's a ton of videos on YouTube about it. Some of them not so great, but when you got a good narrator and some of them put the effort in with some pretty cool imagery, and these days with a lot of different animation programs and whatnot, it's not bad. It's pretty good. Saint Ranger, in any map of San Francisco is a hill called Mount Olympus. Just any hill. And there is a monument there. The street I grew up on, Uranus Terrace, well, of course, is across the street. Mars and Saturn Street are the next streets. There's a couple of roads out here where I live. One's called Earth Street. There's Venus Street and Mercury Street. Yeah. And there's a Mount Olympus on Mars. It's enormous. I guess because it was so huge, they decided we'll name that one Olympus. There is also a Vulcan Street nearby. Geez, check out any map of Google Earth, Mount Olympus in San Francisco. So that's where Zeus and the gang ended up. Poor bastards. The monument is an obelisk that has pictures and engravings. Dominic says, me eat rock, rolling rock from can. Pam says, hi, Dominic. Dominic says, hello, Pam and stranger. Pam I am says, oops, misspelled. Well, you know, good enough. So there he is, Caveman John, if you ever wondered what he looks like. Now you know. Caveman John. With his... I didn't quite draw the club right now that I look at it. It should be leaning on his shoulder. He's kind of holding it up to his ear. I guess that's somehow through some long ago means is how he calls into the show. That's his phone. The club. Yeah. Well, they knew mystical things back then, you know, but it's all lost to us now. Pam I am gets late and it's hard to see. Yeah, that's true. That's the way it goes. Anyway, there you go, Caveman John. And I will put this in the thumbnail for the archive of this very live stream. I just do that sort of thing, you know. I mean, I did all this work. I might as well put it somewhere. So there you go. Thanks again for joining me here and listening to me ramble on about whatever and watching me draw. Yeah, that's something. And hopefully I'll get to do it again. I don't know about tomorrow night because that's when Pat and I do Crime Report. And of course, I'm sure we'll do his live stream. And then I got to do stuff for my own podcast. So that's how that rolls. Yep. But it will roll. It will. All right. Thanks again, and have a good night.
It's Monday. It's Monday. Yeah. It's Monday. Woo! So sick of this racist crap.